everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. We're spending some time with Chris Pulaski, who's the Terrebonne Parish Planning and Zoning Director. A couple of different topics we want to hit today, starting with a program for Hurricane Laura and Ida victims, and I guess anybody else from Restore LA.
Yeah.
What's going on right now?
So this is a primarily focused on either elevating or reconstructing homes. Now, initially, when the state started putting this program together, they were doing it in the wake of Hurricanes Laura and Delta, and then along comes Hurricane Ida. So they basically just tagged Ida and added it to the program. So restorela.gov, there you can see the website, restore.la.gov. That's the program. Now, I think citizens of Terrebonne Parish are probably familiar with our home elevation programs that we've had over the years. And we've also done some reconstructions in those storms in the past. Most of them were flood events, so that's why most of it was elevations. This is very similar to that program, but it has a little bit more funding available to it that are federally funded programs that we administer through hazard mitigation don't. So we're trying to steer as many residents who need assistance to their program versus ours. I mean, you might have people that qualify for both, but if they get a better deal, if they are able to access more money through the state's program, that's where we're going to push them, right?
And they have a local office right now, but it'll always be on the website there.
Yes, so the state has been in Terrebonne Parish, and they've set up offices basically for like 2 to 3 week stints in various locations throughout the parish. But this is the last week that they actually have a physical office in the parish. It's over at Fletcher. You can go online to that website, or you could call, even call the RAMP Division of Planning and Zoning at 985-873-6565. And you could ask, but that they do have an office. I think Jennifer Gerbasi in Ramp Division going to be pushing out information on her Flood Safe Minute email list, so all the council members should be getting it. So now you can still sign up and learn more about that program through their website and the phone number that's on there, but as far as physically going and meeting with somebody from the state.
Just a week or so to go.
Yeah, they only have a few days left, February 3rd.
Okay. Well, as we move on to some other topics we were talking about, the nuisance and abatement,
Yep.
right?
So I think one thing we wanted to sort of tie these two things together is this program that the state has, is to primarily reconstruct homes. Most of the homes were substantially damaged, so they just have to be rebuilt. Now, you can, and the same holds true for the programs that we administer, but if you have to demolish the old structure that was damaged as part of that program, that goes into the construction costs for that program. And there's a cap, there's a limit.
Right.
So we would rather people go and sign up for the FEMA demolition program. And I know Clay Nakian has talked about that, and Clay and I have been on the program talking about that together. His program is still running strong. People can still sign up for it. But if you are eligible, you get those demolition costs paid for. But if you're not, okay, fine, you could have it paid for under these programs. But for those folks who for whatever reason they're not eligible or they don't want to participate in those programs, the risk with that is at some point nuisance abatement is going to catch up to that particular property, because condemnations fall under nuisance abatement. Those are derelict structures, derelict or dangerous structures. And we're talking about homes, we're talking about old businesses, we're talking about sheds and garages, we're talking about sunken vessels, abandoned vehicles. All of that falls under nuisance abatement. And you could, as a property owner, you could end up, getting cited for derelict or dangerous structure. And I know we're going to be talking more in the next segment on that, but I mean, that's been something that over the past 2 or 3 years, we've seen an increase in the number of condemnations we're processing. whereas we used to process between 15 and 20 every quarter in the council meetings.
Right.
Now we're looking at 25 to 30, and that number is going to go up.
Oh, it's definitely going to go up. But look, when you look at what happened in New Orleans right now, and people are trying to come back, rebuild a structure, and then next door there's just something just sitting there.
Yeah.
That throws the whole thing off.
It is very frustrating because the condemnation process in of itself can take anywhere from 6 months at the earliest to as much as 1 or 2 years. I mean, depending upon the severity. I mean, every case is a little bit different, so it's hard to say specifically how long it takes. But yeah, I mean, we have stuff that have been on the books for 18 months. Sometimes if you have a property owner who's working on it,
Right.
but maybe they're just, for whatever reason, maybe they have some disability or they're financially, they have a struggle. I mean, there are.
When can a community take that over, though? And I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be hard on guys trying to get their lives back together and that kind of stuff, but it begins to hold a whole community back when people aren't working and let their things just go.
I mean, we're almost to 18 months. We're 1 month short of that. So I think just hearing what I'm hearing from the community, hearing what I'm hearing from council members, and their constituents, I think we're getting to that point where, okay, we're going to have to start moving on these properties.
Look, I guess I was being a little insensitive talking about, people are trying to get their lives back together, but it really holds everybody back when nobody tries or just lets things just go. Like I said, I know that's been a real issue in New Orleans, but as we were talking, it's like part of it is parish-owned stuff, right? Everybody's still dealing with FEMA, trying to get insurance money back, and you can't start on something unless you have money.
Every community struggles with this. If you were to talk to friends or family that your viewers might have in other communities that have been through these types of situations, I'm sure they'd hear the same stories. I mean, and the parish is not immune to it. Like you said, the parish has buildings that we haven't begun to repair yet because we are also fighting insurance and FEMA, just like the people in our parish are doing. So we have to be fair and acknowledge that and be mindful of that, and certainly ask everybody to remain patient with that as we work through it. And that's why you'll keep hearing me say things like case-by-case basis, because everyone's situation is a little bit different. But we still have no shortage of properties that were derelict and dangerous before the storm.
Oh,
They're
right,
abandoned.
yeah.
And believe me, they didn't get any better.
Right.
So, and look, those become dangerous. It's not just fire risk, because that is a major risk.
Right.
But in hurricanes, those things can come apart and then cause property damage all around. So, I mean, it's a delicate balance, and I'm sure it's going to be a struggle for lots of people on both sides of it. But we are looking to focus on the priorities that we have right now, the structures that we know were that way before the storm, or structures that we know the property owner isn't interested in repairing or isn't available. Sometimes the letters that we send out go unanswered. We have properties that have 24 property owners,
Right.
and
people died, left it to other people.
right, and the families, have all left the area or what have you, and these letters go back. That's why in our process, it's called an ad hoc attorney, and an attorney is appointed to represent that property owner who's absent. And of course, we have to publish in the newspaper and do all these things, but that attorney basically acts on behalf of the property owner, and then that way we can still move forward. And that condemnation, like I was saying in the previous segment, usually we're between 15 and 20 every quarter. We do these hearings quarterly. Now we're doing 25 to 30. Part of that reason is we doubled the size of the nuisance abatement division before the storm came along. We had submitted that proposed budget to the council. So we were fortunate that got approved. So we're already ahead of the game with the size of the division, but now we just have more structures. So, we have, we're even talking now about possibly doing condemnation hearings on more than just quarterly, so we can process more. But there is a lengthy process that we have to go through. It's state law, it's parish ordinances, we got to follow to the letter, because we don't want the last thing we want to do is have to start the thing over
Sure.
again.
And that seems to be what happens in some of the time. There's a civic thing or something where you can take property for the good of the of the community, right, and use it for the community, right? But then when you get a homeowner to come in and then pay a little bit of the tax or do a little bit
Yeah.
of something, it kind of starts the clock again.
So what happens is those adjudicated properties is what you're referring to, and if you're hit with a fine, whether it's for a derelict structure or even tall grass, if those fines go unpaid, then a lien gets placed on the property. If the lien goes unpaid, then it goes onto the tax roll. If the taxes don't get paid, then it goes up for tax sale. So anybody in the community can purchase property on tax sale at an auction, and they could then eventually own it. The flip side to that, or the risk that they're taking, yeah, they're getting it for a really good price, right? But that property owner, that tax property owner, has 18 months, or in some cases as long as 3 years, to come in and pay those taxes. So at any time during that period, if that person goes and pays off the taxes that are due, boom, whoever,
They get it
they're out
back.
that money that
Right.
that they paid for the tax sale property. I know we only have a couple minutes here, but we've got, right now, in total, we have just over 300 condemnation files open in Nuisance Abatement Division. And then we have junk and trash and tall grass are two other violation types that fall under nuisance abatement. We have over 300 of those open right now as well. So we have more than 600 open files just in condemnations, tall grass, and junk and trash. And we're not even in grass season. It's January. Grass isn't
Grass
growing.
not growing right now. Right?
So imagine how much we're going to
Right.
have going
Yeah.
when April and May hit.
Right.
So, and let me also say, we do have positions open in the Nuisance Abatement Division for inspectors, for those folks who go out into the field whenever we get reports and go and we have to confirm all of those reports. So somebody's got to go and take photos and all that. So if anybody's interested, there's the website for the Nuisance Abatement Division. You can go on there. There's links to the job openings. There's links to where you can report junk and trash, tall grass, derelict structures. You can choose to remain anonymous if you wish.
Right.
You don't have to give your name. There's also the phone number there, 873-6563. So
Kind of a one-stop shop. You can apply for
It
it
is.
and report somebody that's happening here. So,
Yeah.
no, it's real important for our community. You shouldn't try to take care of your house and then have somebody just blowing it off next door. There's rats. There's whatever else it
Yeah.
comes with all that. So, no, it's a great program, and it's glad to see that y'all staffing it at the proper levels too. Well, Chris, we appreciate it, man.
you're welcome. Thank you
Thanks.
for having me.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks so much. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time after this.